God bless you guys. The reason I made this video is because sometimes the ports can be pretty intimidating. They're actually not that bad, especially if you're a believer. You're gonna really like it. One reason is because I get to worship the Lord, I get to pray, and I get to read my Bible. Entering the ports, one thing you have to be careful for is the tight spaces. So always watch your mirrors when you're coming out. The poles are probably like I would say like 2 inches away from each mirror. Some ports will ask for your TWIC card. Other ports will ask for your driver's license. Just have them ready. When we come into the pedestals, you want to be prepared in order to get in and out fast and efficiently. It's a good idea to be prepared. So as I'm coming up to the pedestal here, they're going to ask me for my SCAC code. It's an SCAC code. If you don't know what it is, when you get into the ports, you'll find out really quick what a SCAC code is. You need to have an appointment number, and while you're waiting here in these pedestals, it's a good time to unlock your box from your chassis. See, like this truck in front of me, he only has a chassis, so he's picking up a load. These other trucks have empties, so these empties are gonna come off, and some of them are gonna leave with just a chassis alone, or some of them might have to pick up a load as well. Okay, after you got through all the checkpoints and the pedestals and you're inside the port, you're gonna receive 2 tickets, depending whether if you have 2 transactions or not. What I mean by 2 transactions is I have an empty coming in and a load going out. So after you see you come in, you're gonna see some concrete blocks, and to my right and to my left, and they have letters and numbers. So you need to find the letter and the number. And there's a lot of obstacles you need to look out for as you're coming in. We have trucks driving in and out, and about 90% of the people here know where they're going and what they're doing. So if you're lost, you might be in somebody's way, and you always need to give the equipment the right of way. You're new, so it's kind of good to anticipate. Look at a map. I got a list of maps. If message and your email, and I'll send you a map of whatever location you're looking for. I have a map for most locations, not every single location, so hopefully I can help you out in that area. If you want a pin drop of or addresses of certain locations where the entrances are, I can help you there as well. I'm gonna make other videos on how to get in and out of each port efficiently. There's ways, there's certain, well, I've noticed that there's certain lanes that move a lot quicker. I mean, this could be this time of the year, it might change, based on the circumstances, but this has worked out for me. I try to get 2 empties and 2 loads done. I start at 5 o'clock. I try to get by 10, because they go to lunch between, most ports go to lunch between 10 and 11, so I try to get 2 empties in and 2 loads out before 10 o'clock, before lunchtime. Doesn't always work out that way because things happen, but yeah, I'll give you some tips on each port. I'm gonna make separate videos on each port on how to get in and out efficiently. When you're driving up to get offloaded, the operator will honk once to let you know to stop. If he honks twice, that means to move forward, and if he honks 3 times, that means to move back. I just got my container offloaded right now, so we receive, when you come in, you receive 2 tickets. One ticket tells you where to go to get offloaded, and the other ticket will tell you where to go to pick up your load. So I just dropped off my empty. Now I'm on my way to pick up my load. I don't know if you can see from my mirror how the crane is right alongside of the containers. See, that would be the wrong place to park, to wait for your container. And obviously you see there's no numbers there on the ground, so this is not a waiting area. You see numbers on this side, this is a waiting area. What I try to do is when, as soon as I get my truck, I try to beat the rush and get into the ports as quick as I can. And that'll say, every truck that gets in front of you, with the whole process and everything, that eats up about 10 minutes. So if you can get a head start, like a 15-minute head start, that'll save you in the long run, by the end of the day, like 2 hours. Okay, that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to have all your information and everything that you need ready. What I mean is your license, your TWIC card. Every port is different, so I'm not speaking for one particular port, but some of them ask you for your license, those checkpoints. Some of them ask you for your TWIC card. But you have your TWIC card, your license already out, that'll save you some time. If you have your SCAC code, if you don't know what a SCAC code is, an SCAC code, you'll know once you start working in the ports what a SCAC code is. You have it correct. Make sure you have your appointment number. Make sure you have your PIN number. Some of them ask you for PIN numbers, some of them ask you for appointment numbers. Make sure you have your container number, the loadout number, the one that you're picking up. Make sure you have all that, because as soon as you get to the pedestal, it's like, fire away. You push that red button, and sometimes it takes a while for the operator to help you, but as soon as they help you, they want all that information and they want it quick. It's also handy to have your license, truck license number. Sometimes I've been asked that before. Sometimes they ask for that, So, cause they, you know, you gotta understand them. They, you know, they deal with hundreds of drivers every day. As I was saying, sorry, I had to move my truck. But as I was saying, those operators have to deal with hundreds of drivers every single day. So, like, as soon as they get to you, they don't want you scrambling for your information or you know, giving them wrong information and then having to either call your dispatch or do something. So if you have all that handy, everything correct, it'll just make things quicker, you know. I mean, if not, you know, it's happened to me before where I didn't have all the numbers or like everything that I needed, and then they just moved on to the next driver, and I was like, oh man, you know. Also, when you get some ports won't give you tickets, so it just depends. Some ports will give you most ports will give you 2 tickets, depending if you're doing 2 transactions or not. But I remember the first time, the first port I ever went to, my very first time, I only grabbed 1 ticket, and they printed up 2, but I didn't wait for the other one because I didn't know. And then I had to go to the trouble window to go grab it, and I just, you know, took up time, you know, and that's fine, you know. You know, but you want to get in and out as quick as possible. Once you get into the port, you need to know how to read your tickets as well, because every ticket is different and the locations are in different spots. So, you know, every port has different rules. Some veteran port drivers out there that there's maybe some information that I'm not giving out, or maybe something that I'm missing. Go ahead and put it down on the comments below. You know, I'd like to know myself. But yeah, these are the tips that I've learned. Also, you know, you want to get in your spot and find your spot, you know, as quickly as possible, because you might miss the crane, and he might be in your area as soon as you're pulling in. And you know, it's happened to me sometimes. I'm pulling in, and if I would have been wandering around lost, the crane would have been in a different area, and I would have lost like an hour. So there's been times I've just been pulling in, and the crane was about to pull out, and I pulled into my spot, and I got my load in and out 30 minutes tops. You know, sometimes it happens. And I know the daytime is a lot different. I'm talking about nights. Nights goes by a lot smoother than the daytime. It always happen the way you plan it, because you know, sometimes there's unexpected circumstances, like the crane breaks down, or there's just too many trucks on the section that you're in. But there's nothing wrong with waiting. You get to spend time with the Lord, so that's a plus. So this is the automated crane here at the truck exchange, loading a container onto my truck. See, this is a bare chassis. So in order for the container to go on, it has to be in the unlocked position. See, this is the locked position. So once the container is on and it's locked, you lock it. But in order for a container to go on, it needs to be unlocked, or come off, it needs to be unlocked. This is the back. For the front, this is unlocked when it's in, and when you see this out, it's locked in. And then there's another lock here that locks it. So it would have to be on the unlocked position. Yeah, whenever you're gonna move a container, you want to make sure your pins are locked on all 4 corners. There's 2 in the front and 2 in the back. See, the way you could tell is the latch is sideways when it's locked. So it's against the metal, and when it's unlocked, see, it's actually parallel, so the container can be lifted up. And there's a handle here with a lock that you just move forward to lock and move back to unlock. Pretty simple concept. So whenever you're waiting at the port to get your container lifted off, you want it unlocked. And whenever you're gonna pick it up, whether empty or loaded, you always want to double check that they're locked. For some reason, it might not be locked. So whenever you're picking up a container and gonna drive it on the road, you want to make sure it is in the locked position. Sometimes one thing that can happen is your container might be parked too close to the landing gear. So in that case, what you do is you hook up your airlines and you pull out, if you can, raise the landing gear a little bit so it won't be dragging too much, if you can. But I remember one time I tried raising it, the first time it happened to me, and my back got really tired, and my knees were hurting pretty bad because I was down there pretty low trying to do that. But yeah, what you do is just hook up your airlines. If you can lift it up a little bit, good, and just drag it out to where you have access to the landing gear. That's one potential problem. Another potential problem could be when your locks get stuck. Yeah, the best thing to do is always carry a small can of WD-40, and WD-40 works really good. You might have, like, I remember when I had a can of WD-40 on me, and I didn't really need it, but I'm glad I did have it on me for the day that I did need it. So every once in a while you will come into the situation where the locks won't unlock or they won't lock, and WD-40 will save your life here. Another potential problem is not checking for your fifth wheel. If the fifth wheel, your kingpin, always make sure your kingpin is locked, because I've seen sometimes people assume that the kingpin is locked. They pull away, they already raised their landing gear, and the trailer will fall right off of your truck. Another thing that can happen with your fifth wheel is maybe the trailer is too high and you didn't lower the trailer, and your fifth wheel goes over the kingpin. What happens is the fifth, you try to pull out and your fifth wheel is kind of lifted up. So what you do in that case is you lift up, it's always good to have a sledgehammer or something on you, a crowbar, and you lift up the fifth wheel from the back, and you wedge it in between the back part of the fifth wheel, so it'll stay up. And if you have to lift up the trailer a little more, then you lift it up and you pull out, then you lower the trailer low enough to where and then you pull out your kingpin, and then you lower your trailer low enough so you can get underneath it the right time this time. And sometimes and when you are parking a trailer, don't park it too close to the other one where you don't have access to your landing gear. Another thing some people ask, how do you know which way to turn the landing gear? When the landing gear is up, how do you know if it's going up or down? If if you just hooked up to a trailer and you're picking up a trailer, the best way to know, because they don't all turn the same way. It's not always righty tighty, lefty loosey. So what you do is you'll know by the way it cranks. So if you're cranking it and it seems like it's getting harder, then that means you're pushing the landing gear down and it's lifting up the trailer more. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the feet up. So if you want to get the feet up, you turn it, you crank it the way of least resistance. So when there's less resistance, then you know it'll be lifting up. Yeah, when you're new to the ports, even exiting the ports can be a challenge. Yeah, I remember how it felt when I didn't know where the exits were. I got my load. It's hard enough to find my spot. Then I had to figure out how to get out. And I have a friend that he was doing this longer than I was, so I was calling them all the time, asking him, and he'd be like, "Yeah, there's a big sign right there that says exit." And I was like, "Oh yeah, there is, huh?" But I didn't. It was just I was so overwhelmed with all the other stuff I had to figure out.